My child, don't scroll. This moment is sacred. You fought battles no one saw, cried tears no one heard, and carried a weight you couldn't explain. But I saw it all, and now I'm speaking, not just to comfort you, but to call you forward. What nearly broke you wasn't your ending, it was the stage for your unveiling. Stay with me until the end of this message, because before it's over, you will understand why you had to endure the fire and what I'm about to release through you. This is not the time to fade. This is the moment to rise. What the enemy intended for your destruction was no small offense. It was a focused assault meant to wear you out, steal your voice, strip away your identity, and bury you beneath the weight of survival. Yet here you stand, still upright, still breathing, still seeking me, still anticipating my voice. Now I declare this to you. What hell tried to employ for your demise, I will utilize for your unveiling. This is not only about surviving. This is not just a story of recovery. This is a redemptive reversal. In the precise areas where the enemy attacked the hardest, your peace, your reputation, your clarity, your calling, those are precisely where I intend to act most powerfully. What was meant to silence you shall become the very place I amplify your voice. What sought to humiliate you shall be the very spot where I crown you with honor. What tried to force you into isolation shall be replaced by covenant relationships surrounding you. What nearly broke you on an emotional level is about to introduce you on a spiritual level. Understand this. While you were striving to persist, I was shaping you. The enemy believed that pain would define you, yet I used it to refine you. He assumed that shame would quiet you, but I turned it into a deeper humility and an intensified compassion. He presumed that fear would incapacitate you, but I allowed it to enhance your discernment, bolster your prayer life, and anchor you more solidly in my presence. Now, because you endured, choosing me even when circumstances made no sense, heaven is responding, not with explanation, but with activation. I never disregarded your struggle. I documented each detail. Every time you forgave, despite the right to retaliate. Every time you raised your head in worship, though your heart was shattered. Every time you appeared when disappearing would have been simpler. I noted it all. Heaven noted it all. And what you sowed in weeping, you are about to reap in authority. This next season is not about justifying what you endured. It is about embodying what I constructed through it. Let me speak this plainly. You are not the product of your suffering. You are the proof of my power. It is time to cease carrying your story as though it remains ongoing. You are no longer in the same chapter. You have been purified, tested, validated. The fire did not destroy you. It revealed you in the spirit. Your scars do not indicate failure. They signify the victories of one who battled and prevailed. The enemy expected your end, but in truth, he was preparing the stage for all that I intend to unveil. Yes, I will turn what was intended for evil to good. Every word meant to discredit your name, I will use to establish your voice. Every betrayal intended to embitter your heart, I will use to broaden your capacity to love. Every quiet season where people overlooked you, I will use to reveal that I never did. I do not simply grant double for your suffering. I assign purpose to your process. I do not waste hurt, I harvest it. Now I intend to display publicly what I have been cultivating under the surface of what you believed was crushing you. The next chapter of your journey does not begin with fanfare. It starts with obedience. I will not introduce you first through platforms. I will introduce you through evident fruit. People near you will gradually recognize that something has changed. Your words will bear added weight. Your presence will radiate greater peace. Your discernment will sharpen. Your prayers will penetrate the atmosphere. And without forcing or striving, your life will resonate more loudly than your voice ever did. You are no longer who you were before the conflict, and you are not who the enemy sought to create through it. You are now stronger, more tender, more lucid, quieter in the spirit, but resounding in impact. I am not discarding what was. I am building upon what you assumed was finished. What was refined in the fire is now prepared for release. This is not the moment to offer explanations. It is the moment to move forward, unapologetically, confidently, fearlessly, with the calm assurance of a person who knows God did not just keep them breathing, He is summoning them onward. Heaven is answering you, and the very element that tried to break you will now serve as my instrument to proclaim you. Allow me to address the part of you that continued onward but secretly questioned whether I still noticed. The part that learned how to smile while concealing tears. The part that provided encouragement to others, though your own heart was still mending. I have been present, near, aware, and compassionate. I witnessed those times when your decisions had a cost, choosing integrity over convenience, remaining tender in places undeserving of your mercy, staying silent instead of retaliating, not because you lacked words, but because you trusted me to handle it. You never needed to shout to gain heaven's ear. I was listening all along. You mistook my silence for distance, but I was cultivating something far deeper than words could express. I was never oblivious to your pain. I observed how you managed it, how you oversaw seasons of loss, navigated delays without cursing me, and kept showing up for individuals who no longer appeared for you. You have often asked me, God, did it matter? My response is an unequivocal yes. Everything mattered. Nothing has vanished. Nothing has been squandered. Every unacknowledged act of obedience, every unobserved battle you conquered, every instance you stood firm when you had every reason to collapse, I saw it all. Heaven observes not only what you build, but also what you outlast. And here's what I want you to comprehend now. You did far more than survive. You grew. Steadily and quietly, beneath the surface, you became someone altogether different. Someone deeper, sturdier, someone I can trust with greater things. You stopped living for people's approval and started living for alignment with me. You ceased chasing validation and chose to obey. You ended your wait for rooms to notice you and began moving as though you were already sent. And indeed, you were. That shift did not emerge overnight. It arose in increments, in solitude, in silent battles known only to me. I honor that progression. Let me show you my perspective on who you are, not filtered by human opinion or your own achievements, but by my vision. You are steadfast, even when it would have been simpler to leave. You are courageous in ways you rarely acknowledge. You are resilient because you keep standing, even when nobody is applauding. You are pure-hearted despite others misjudging your intentions. You are sensitive yet not fragile. You are powerful but never theatrical. Above all, you belong to me, unconditionally, not sporadically, but always. There is no need to earn this truth. Just accept it. You have tried proving your readiness. You have tried justifying your worth. You have tried diminishing yourself to accommodate others. But I never required you to prove, justify, or shrink. I simply invited you nearer. I asked you to spend time with me, because what I want is not only your voice, but your heart. The next chapter of your purpose will not flow solely from effort. It will emanate from intimacy. It will manifest when you are deeply rooted in who I say you are, rather than in the labels your history attempted to impose. You have permitted too many situations to shape your reflection. You have internalized rejection as identity. You have dwelt on those who left, presuming it was due to a deficiency on your part. Let me inject truth into that belief. They did not walk away because you held less value. They departed because they lacked vision. They were incapable of seeing what I was constructing. They could not detect the future I instilled within you. And that is all right. They were never meant to accompany you through the entire journey. I did not extract them to punish you, but to safeguard the process and to protect the weight of what is about to come. You have lamented those who left, but I urge you now to rejoice in those who stayed. And you stayed. You remained loyal. You remained open. You persisted in being planted, even in the in-between times, even when you felt anything but strong, even when everything seemed stagnant. Now understand this. It is moving. The atmosphere is shifting. The ground beneath your feet is different. The delay is dissolving. And I want you prepared, not just in doing, but in being. Do not bring the old version of yourself into the new chamber I am unlocking. Do not lead with apologies where I've already granted you authority. Do not doubt your presence where I have already arranged space for your arrival. You need not speak louder. You only need to be anchored. Speak when I guide you. Act when I prompt you. Do not perform. Remain in me. Stay near. Stay in sync. Stay in communion. I will not give you a platform without also granting you peace. I will not confer visibility without giving you discernment. I am not setting you forth to prove anything but to reflect me. Draw closer again, not to strive but to rest, not to impress but to recall that you are chosen, shielded, designated, and covered. I am not simply with you, I am within you, active, preparing, releasing, constructing, and restoring. Let this be the turning point when your faith ceases asking when and begins saying yes. Let your identity rise, not out of performance, but out of presence. Let your heart rest in the reality that I have seen it all, remembered it all, and will redeem it all. You were never merely a casualty of the onslaught. You were the seed concealed beneath it, and now you are beginning to sprout. Allow me to speak to the places in you that still feel bruised, the places that are not entirely aligned with truth yet. I understand that even with all I have promised regarding identity, fulfillment, and the shift, you still bear traces of hurt that have not been completely healed. You have moved forward, you have gained strength, you have remained on the path, but there are instances when the memories return, when the heaviness reappears, and you quietly wonder, why did things have to occur like that? You have learned how to bear things, you have learned how to push onward, but I am not content with your barely outlasting your past. I desire to heal you so you do more than endure it. I want you to process and transcend it, not so you erase it, but so you recall it differently. I am not aiming for amnesia, I am aiming for transformation. I want the reminders of betrayal, loss, disappointment, and the exact moment your heart broke and your voice was hushed to no longer cause you to shut down internally. I want to offer true healing. Not just for your circumstances, but for how you interpret the pain. Let me explain why it had to happen the way it did. Not because I created your pain, I did not, but because I permitted certain factors, knowing what they would forge in you. I foresaw how pressure would shape your prayer life. I understood how heartbreak would generate depth. I recognized how rejection would distance you from places you were never meant to be. I knew how each sealed door would strengthen discernment. The enemy arrived with a scheme for your destruction, but I vetoed that plan and repurposed every detail to forge something that cannot be fabricated or forced in an atmosphere of ease. You are not an accident, and neither is your story. Not even the parts you have tried to conceal, or the chapters that still weigh heavily. I was there throughout them all. Not from a detached vantage point, but sharing your tears, shielding you from utter devastation, stabilizing your mind when it threatened to unravel, standing between you and darkness when you did not realize how exposed you were. You were never alone, not for an instant. My silence was never absence, it was vigilance. I was putting things in place, orchestrating future timings, fortifying your spirit under the load of pain. This is why you still stand. This is why your faith remained unbroken. Your survival was not due to your personal strength. It was my presence holding you. You may not have recognized it then, but I appointed angels over your life. Spiritual warfare transpired around you. Threats were halted, rerouted, or diverted to protect the calling I placed in you. Some instances you labeled rejection were truly rescue. Some of the experiences that hurt you were actually my intervention, steering you away before irreparable harm could set in. I never turned a blind eye to your agony. I was working with it. and I remain at work even now, but not to shatter you further, rather to position you for my announcement. What you overcame will qualify your voice. What you have endured will lend depth to your prayers. The healing I am completing in you will extend its reach to many. You will not carry your wounds as shame. You will display them as a mantle, a story, a bold decree that God was present even there. When you say, "But it changed me," I confirm that it did, but not in the way you fear. The pain did not rob you of your potential. It refined your priorities. It taught you what really holds worth. It severed your reliance on public opinion. It liberated you from the need for universal understanding. It fortified your inner person beyond the reach of external chaos. That kind of transformative shift cannot be undone, and that is the kind of shift upon which I will build. I now wish to finalize what we began. Let me into the corners of your story you have handled, but not fully surrendered. Let me touch the sorrow you bypassed but never grieved. Allow me into those identities you formulated around self-preservation. It is unnecessary to be hardened to be strong. You need not feign indifference as if your wounds were insignificant. I acknowledge their weight, and I will honor it, not with vengeance, but with restoration. Take note, you are not breakable. You are shaped by fire, owned in secrecy, and fortified in surrender. You are not frail. You are enduring, not because you have avoided affliction, but because I have held you through it. This is what renders you a threat to darkness and gives such potency to your voice. It is why hell attempted to break you from the start, because it perceived the destiny and felt genuine fear. However, you are rising now, not by dismissing the suffering, but by comprehending its purpose. You will never revert to the former state, and this is worth celebrating, not lamenting. You are done reverting or minimizing your progress to soothe others. You are stepping into the promise with your gaze alert, your voice grounded, and your spirit firm. They thought adversity would define you, yet I have already decreed it shall announce you. Now that the pain has been reframed and the deceptions exposed, I will address what is unfolding around you, the subtle yet unmistakable shifts. You are not merely exiting hardship, you are entering a divinely orchestrated setup, long in the making. The environment around you is recognizing what is happening. The synchronicities are neither haphazard nor arbitrary. These are signals that what I pledged is not only valid, but is actively being carried out. You might not sense it yet, but you have crossed a threshold in the spirit. The battles that nearly ended you were, in fact, an indicator of a birthing process. You thought the onslaught signified failure, but it represented the final throes of labor. That pressure, tension, and exhaustion were not the end. They signaled that manifestation was imminent. Now you will see what appear to be small signs on the surface, but bear my imprint. Connections that feel appointed, resources arriving at the right time, inexplicable surges of clarity. None of these are coincidences. They are revelations of my promise, the opening hints of harvest in fields that looked dormant. Make no mistake, I speak not merely to encourage but to establish. My promises are not optimistic notions, they are mandates enforced by heaven's complete authority. Everything I have declared over you is advancing into a phase of activation, meaning things will begin shifting quickly. You must stay vigilant. Never underestimate small beginnings. Significant breakthroughs often manifest through mundane details. A message, a conversation, or a divine meeting concealed as a mundane exchange. Search for my presence at the edges. You have asked for signs, and now they will increase. Not to verify my existence, which you already acknowledge, but to confirm what I am doing, thus bolstering your discernment. You will notice recurring themes, repeated words, Bible verses that find you wherever you go, people referencing topics you just whispered in prayer. These are not random. It is me weaving alignment, affirming, yes, keep going. You are walking with me. I will also begin to speak to you again in dreams. Not every dream will carry a prophetic emphasis, but heed the ones that cling to your mind, the ones that disturb your rest, the ones that stir you deeply. I use various methods to speak, and dreams are among them. Write them down. Seek my clarification. Do not rush to decode them. Bring them before me. I will uncover what you must know when the moment is right. I am now restoring certain relationships and removing others. You asked for direction, and here's part of the answer. Some individuals will drift from you without causing strife. This is me creating necessary room. Do not chase what I am pruning. Others will return, but not for a cycle of old wounds. Rather, because timing is at last right. You have both evolved. You are no longer who you were, and they are no longer who you feared. This too is a sign of my movement. I am also equipping you with resources, not merely to provide comfort, but to move you into your purpose. You are entering a phase in which your calling demands backing, structure, and strategic plans. Do not reject the provision. Do not wonder if you deserve it. It is not about merit, but about your mission. I supply all that I commission. Therefore, as I set new doors before you, expect fresh avenues, not just financially, but also in terms of time, insight, and favor. You will not be left with empty hands. I will fill them so you may construct. Do not be shocked if old prospects reemerge. Evaluate them with renewed insight. Familiar does not necessarily mean you should claim it again, and the unfamiliar is not automatically incorrect. You have matured. Your discernment is stronger. Trust the peace I bestow upon you. Pay attention to it. My peace shall direct you. If you must force it, it is not my doing. If it exhausts you before you begin, it is not your door. I am not merely unlocking doors, I am unveiling the right ones. Also, never assume I have forgotten the prayers you offered in bygone seasons. Some requests seem to vanish because the ground was not ripe. But I have been preparing soil unseen, and seeds you thought had died are now coming to life. Those prayers you abandoned out of fear or weariness, I kept them safe. I watered them, awaiting the appointed time. I am not resurrecting them to toy with your hope, but to exceed what you once envisioned. Additionally, expect a season of deeper revelation. You will walk not only through doors that are opening, but you will comprehend the necessity of shutting certain doors. You will discover why I hindered certain chances, why I steered your path differently, why certain detours or pauses were allowed. Once it all clicks, gratitude will arise, not forced, but erupting from genuine insight. You will reflect and confess, I see it now, God. You were there every step of the way. So, watch closely. Observe the timing. Observe the effortless shifts. You need not generate momentum. Just identify my hand at work and obey. That is all. It is not your responsibility to force outcomes. Your task is to remain harmonized with me. The signs are not on their way. They have already started. Now that you perceive the shift and witness the signs, now that you have permitted me to speak truth into your pain and into your identity, I must show you how to walk out what I have declared, not momentarily, but sustainably. Promises come with required postures, and fulfillment needs an active faith, not merely a faith that believes, but a faith that constructs. This is the type of faith expressed not only through prayer, but also through your daily flow. You are not just entering a season of breakthrough, you are entering a lifestyle of alignment, and for that, you need direction. Here is your starting point. Shape your days around me first. Before anything else, make space for my voice. I do not need performances or perfection. I want your undivided attention. I long to be the first influence you allow each morning. Not your smartphone, not your schedule, not your feelings, but me. Awake, then spend time with me, even if it is a mere 10 minutes. Present your genuine thoughts, your worries, your thankfulness, your inquiries. I am not seeking polished speech. I am longing for your presence. These morning sessions with me are not trivial. They are the bedrock upon which everything else stands. Next, proclaim the truths I have revealed to you, even when your emotions do not align. This is faith. Begin by declaring what I have already spoken. I am chosen. I am covered. I am in agreement with God's plan. I walk along the path God designed for me. My steps are directed. My hands are blessed. My heart stands firm. My future unfolds precisely as heaven ordained. Do not wait to feel strong. Speak it until your soul aligns. You are not being insincere. You are agreeing with the truth. When you unite your words with my word, heaven moves. Obey swiftly. When I nudge you, act. When I indicate it is time to release something, let it go. When I say begin, do not stall for extra confirmations. You have heard me already. Those days of paralyzing indecision are finished. This is the season to place confidence in the voice you now recognize. You implored me to lead you. I am. You asked me to confirm. I have. Move forward, not recklessly, but faithfully. I will meet you in motion. You do not need the entire map. You only need your next direction. Be mindful of how you allocate time. Where you direct your energy either fosters growth or drains it. Your calendar is an accurate barometer of your values. Begin carving out space for prayer, for planning, for reading, for authentic community, and for rest. Stop saying yes to what depletes you. Stop investing in what no longer suits you. Let me rearrange your hours so that your days progress in purpose rather than under pressure. You have lingered in survival long enough. Step into structured living. That does not translate to rigidity, but to rhythm, clarity, and peace. Return consistently to my word, not merely for enlightenment, but for spiritual realignment. Let Scripture become your mother tongue once more. Let it be the mirror you consult before decisions. It is unnecessary to digest countless verses daily. You need just one alive in your spirit, one that stabilizes your emotions, one that calls out your fears. My word is not a chore list. It is a tool, a lamp, your anchor in any storm. Open it expecting to hear from me. Ask me for a particular focus. I will highlight what you truly need. Look after your heart and your environment. What you consume, entertainment, social feeds, conversations, crafts your spiritual setting. I am not pushing you toward legalism. I am leading you toward discernment. Anything that strips away your peace is not harmless. Anything that rekindles old fears is not neutral. Filter it all by asking, does this reinforce my spirit or erode it? Lessen the noise so my voice becomes more distinct. Handle your relationships wisely. Certain individuals will lean on you in this season, not necessarily out of toxicity, but because they are hungry. Be benevolent, but guard yourself from burnout. Make room for reciprocation. Press into the relationships I have quietly built, people who bring what you require and value what you carry. Community will be vital in this next segment. You will build more quickly, remain more steadfast, and recover more promptly when you are surrounded by the right people. I have already started connecting you. Look around. Finally, incorporate rest deliberately, weekly, and wholeheartedly. Rest is not weakness, it is trust. Your body demands reprieve, your soul demands breathing space. I instituted Sabbath so you would recall that it is not your efforts alone that sustain you, that your worth is not dictated by endless exertion, that I continue working even while you pause. Rest is sacred. Protect it vigilantly. It rejuvenates your clarity and rekindles your joy. You have nothing to prove in this season. You do not need to hustle for what I have already decreed. Simply remain in the flow I have set. Keep walking. Keep meeting me. Faith is not a short sprint, performance, or sudden inspiration. It is a life of agreement, built moment by moment, decision by decision, prayer by prayer. You have already triumphed in the trial of suffering. Now stand in the strength of your purpose. No longer are you waiting for something else to happen. You are learning how to hold what has already been bestowed. Having readied your faith to take action, aligning your movements with my direction, you must also examine something more internal. Not simply how you walk, but how you see yourself as you walk. Because if you attempt to carry out a divine calling while retaining an identity born of hurt, dread, or scorn, you will keep hesitating. You will hold back portions of yourself. You will second-guess your own words. You will underrate your worth. I did not bring you through everything just for you to remain unsure whether you have earned your place. You have already been selected by me. That is final. But now, I want you to claim that genuine version of yourself I designed, not the one necessity forced you to be in order to survive. There is a true self that existed before rejection, before long silences, before demands to be smaller or quieter to appease others. You learned to acclimate to environments that could not contain your authenticity. You learned to soften your voice for fear of being misunderstood. You carried vision, empathy, and knowledge in a realm that often had no framework for them, causing you to wonder if your uniqueness was somehow flawed. Let me clarify. I made no mistakes in crafting you. Nothing in your makeup, your sensitivities, insights, reflexes was an error. You were intentionally formed that way for a particular calling. The world may have mishandled it, but I never mislabeled it. The push you felt to fit in, to be more like the majority, to blend, none of that came from me. I have always been drawing out the real you, the one I shaped in intimacy with me long before the world attempted to brand you. You have functioned for years, performing your duties, showing up, persevering. But beneath that perseverance is a question. Am I truly enough? That is the voice I aim to silence now, because I do not want you stepping into your new season in someone else's armor. I do not want you to speak on my behalf, yet remain uncertain of your right to speak. I do not want you constructing what I have placed in your care, while still wondering if you're just one mistake away from losing it. That narrative is finished. Let me define who you are. You are not abandoned. You are not nearly there. You are not the overlooked. You are not the version of yourself who stayed quiet just to feel safe. You are my image bearer. You are a vessel of glory. You are a herald of healing. You are a temple of my presence. You are courageous. You are compassionate. You possess keen spiritual sight, and you overflow with grace. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not disqualified. You are set apart. Your hardships have not dismissed you. They have distinguished you. Some falsehoods have lived too long in your mind. Falsehoods that snuck in during moments of deep pain. Moments when people left without a word. Moments when your name was left out of conversations you guided. Moments when others insisted you dial back your intensity when you were simply bearing clarity. Those experiences birthed internal agreements that said, don't speak too loudly, don't ask for more, don't expect too much, stay small, be safe. I am dismantling these lies because that kind of safety is actually a cage, and I did not rescue you merely to restrain you. I released you so you could flourish. You need not be contrite for occupying space, for undergoing a process, for being powerful, or for shedding tears. You are not excessive. You are enough in every way that matters. And in the areas where you still sense a lack, an incompleteness, a rawness, I fill those gaps. My grace is not only for your sins, it is also for your evolution. Let me meet you in your uncertainties. Let me rewrite the internal scripts that have guided your behavior. You no longer have to clamor for acceptance. The one whose voice finalizes all matters has already embraced you. This is the season for you to stop shrinking, not out of vanity, but out of honesty. You have transcended outdated labels. You have outgrown the longing for constant external validation. You have outgrown disguising your actual capacity. There is no requirement to linger until you feel wholly equipped. You just need to agree with who I say you are. Doing so will bring you peace. You will quit over-clarifying yourself. You will stop overreacting. You will stop trying to govern everyone's perceptions. You will simply walk in love, in power, in wholeness. Let your steps reflect your healing. Let your decisions reflect your worth. Let your relationships reflect your discernment. Let your presence reflect that you dwell with me. There is nothing for you to prove. You only need to stand in who I declared you to be. They aim to define you by your greatest defeats. I proclaim you by my highest purpose. And whatever strove to break you tried to convince you that you were unworthy, uncalled, unimportant. Yet that very thing is now going to herald your identity, not from retaliation, but from revelation. You are not turning back. You will not diminish yourself. You are not invisible. You are not in limbo. You are stepping into purpose, anchored, whole, free. You finally believe what I have known from the start. You were always enough. With your identity no longer obscured by confusion and now aligned with my perspective, you must walk onward in a pattern that protects, fosters, and perpetuates what I have placed within you. You cannot carry the weight of your calling without disciplined structure. You cannot preserve the authority of your voice without quiet places. You cannot maintain revelation without frequent returns to my presence. If the adversary failed to destroy you by chaos, he will now try to ensnare you through distraction once you gain momentum. Hence, I am showing you how to build from my presence rather than from pressure. Begin with prayer. Not merely the kind you resort to in emergencies, but the kind that establishes my presence as your constant home. Real prayer, unpretentious prayer, not hours of polished speeches, genuine moments where your soul engages with my spirit. Begin your day with me, not as some item on a list, but as a chance to recalibrate your heart before worldly pressures can sway your mind. Let my voice set the level of your peace. 5 minutes or 50, it does not matter. I am not measuring the clock. I am measuring your submission. I do not yearn for rehearsed words. I want your heart. Share your thanks, your anxieties, your genuine thoughts before they spiral. I will meet you there. Carry on conversing with me throughout your day. Prayer does not cease when you leave that quiet place. It follows you into your decisions, interactions, and emotional states. Ask me direct questions. Pause for my guidance. If something feels off, stop and seek my perspective. This is living by the Spirit, not just crying out when everything overwhelms you, but walking in constant awareness that I am ever present. Let me speak about your demeanor, because in this season, your inner posture will matter as much as what you carry outwardly. You are no longer operating from desperation. You are operating from security. Let that be evident in your bearing. Keep your words calm, even when conflict arises. Let your very presence project peace before you utter a sound. You have learned how to stand firm in storms. Now I will teach you how to maintain the same faith in calm times. Not every miracle splits the sea. Sometimes you must walk on turbulent waters unfazed. I want your internal self quiet enough to recognize my come. Commence every morning in gratitude. That's how you train your heart to see me everywhere. Thank me for what is still forming. Thank me for what has already departed. Thank me even for what you cannot yet comprehend. Gratitude is not weakness, it's warfare. It confronts anxiety. It silences entitlement. It opens your eyes to grace and spots you would otherwise miss. Make gratitude an ongoing practice, a reflexive habit. Return to my word daily, not just for data, but for alignment. My word is your balance. It will remind you of truth when your feelings lure you back into old cycles. You need not flood yourself with vast passages. A single verse can transform your entire day. Let it refine your thinking, reinvigorate your viewpoint. Avoid a mere reading of Scripture. Let Scripture read you. Approach it humbly, inviting me to highlight my message. My word is alive, dynamic, precisely fitting. If you have distanced yourself, return unashamed. There is no condemnation. Come back in. Pick up wherever you left off. Start in Psalms if you are weary, Proverbs if you need discernment, or the Gospels if you must recall the gentleness of Jesus. I will meet you in the lines you open and will reform you from the inside out. That is how transformation happens, not through raw will, but through steady exposure to truth. Be vigilant about what you permit inside. Your soul is more permeable than you think. Everything you watch, listen to, or mindlessly scroll through leaves a mark on your soul. I am not endorsing legalism. I am guiding you to lucidity. You cannot pray for inner calm while immersing yourself in fear. You cannot seek discernment while engulfed in trivial distraction. Minimize your inputs so my voice remains prominent. Guard your mind. You cannot afford to give your precious focus away recklessly. Manage your relationships with wisdom. Certain individuals will lean on you in this season, not out of maliciousness, but out of their own hunger. Be generous, yet guard your vitality. Seek mutual connections. Invest in the ones I am weaving behind the scenes, people who bring what you require and cherish what you bear. Community will be crucial in this next segment. You will build faster, stand stronger, and heal quicker if you are encircled by kindred spirits. I have already brought some into your orbit. Take notice. Finally, rest wholeheartedly, weekly, and with intention. Rest is not inefficiency, it is faith. Your body needs downtime, and your soul needs the cushion of unhurried time. I created Sabbath so you remember that you do not hold the universe, that your significance is not earned by constant labor, that I continue working even while you pause. Rest is sacred. Defend it. This is how you reclaim clarity and rekindle delight. You need not prove yourself to obtain anything. You do not have to labor for what I have already decreed. Flow with my cadence. Keep advancing, keep entering my presence. Real faith is not measured by spectacle, a sprint, or short-lived fervor. It is a daily posture of unity with me, constructed through each choice, each prayer. You have already conquered adversity. Now operate in the strength of the destiny I have for you. You are not expecting an event to happen. You are using what I have already put in your hands. Having aligned your faith with my leading and your actions with my movement, you must now address a profound facet, not merely how you advance, but how you perceive yourself in the midst of it. If you attempt to undertake a divine mission while clinging to an identity born of hurt, terror, or scorn, you will perpetually waver. You will withhold portions of yourself. You will second-guess your own words. You will downplay your worth. And I did not lead you through everything I brought you through, so you could live like you still need to prove your place. I have already chosen you. That's settled. But now I want you to choose the version of yourself that I created, not the one you had to become to survive. There is a real version of you that existed before betrayal, before the silence, before you were told to be smaller, quieter, easier to manage. You learned how to fit in rooms that couldn't hold your truth. You learned how to adjust your tone so people wouldn't misunderstand your fire. You carried vision and compassion and wisdom in a world that often didn't know what to do with it, causing you to wonder if the way I made you was somehow a mistake. Let me tell you clearly, nothing about you was accidental. Nothing about your wiring, your insight, your instincts, your sensitivity was a flaw. You were designed that way on purpose, for a purpose. The world may have mishandled it, but I never misnamed it. The pressure you felt to conform, to blend in, to be more like others, none of that came from me. I've always been trying to call out the real you, the one who was formed in intimacy with me long before this world tried to label you. You've been functioning for years, doing the work, showing up, enduring. But beneath the strength, there's still a voice that whispers, "Am I really enough?" That's what I want to silence now. Because I don't want you to walk into this next season wearing borrowed armor. I don't want you speaking my words while still unsure if you deserve to carry them. I don't want you building what I've placed in your hands while still wondering if you're just one mistake away from losing it. That's not your story anymore. Let me tell you who you are. You are not the abandoned one. You are not the almost. You are not the overlooked. You are not the version of you that stayed quiet to stay safe. You are my image bearer. You are a vessel of glory. You are a mouthpiece of healing. You are a carrier of presence. You are bold. You are kind. You are sharp in spirit and full of grace. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not unqualified. You are called. And what you've been through isn't disqualifying you, it's distinguishing you. There are lies that have lived in your mind for too long. Lies that snuck in during moments of deep pain. Moments when people left without explanation. Moments when your name was left out of conversations you helped shape. Moments when you were told to calm down when you were simply carrying clarity. Those experiences created internal agreements that said things like, don't be too loud, don't ask for more, don't expect too much, stay small, be safe. But I'm breaking those lies now because safety in those terms is slavery. And I didn't rescue you just to contain you. I freed you so you could live. You don't need to apologize anymore for your presence, for your process, for your strength, for your tears. You're not too much, you're enough in every way that matters. And in the areas where you still feel weak, still feel raw, still feel unfinished, I will fill in the gaps. My grace is not just for your sin, it's for your becoming. Let me meet you in the places where you're still unsure. Let me rewrite the internal narrative that shaped your behavior. You don't need to beg for affirmation. You've already been affirmed by the one whose word settles everything. This is the season where you stop shrinking, not because of pride, but because of truth. You've outgrown old labels. You've outgrown the need for constant validation. You've outgrown pretending not to carry what you do. You don't need to wait until you feel fully ready. You just need to agree with who I say you are. And from that place of agreement, you will find peace. You'll stop over-explaining. You'll stop reacting. You'll stop managing everyone's perception. You'll just walk in love, in power, in wholeness. Let your steps reflect your healing. Let your decisions reflect your worth. Let your relationships reflect your discernment. Let your presence reflect that you've been with me. You don't have to prove anything. You just have to be who I already said you are. They tried to define you by your lowest moment. I define you by my highest call. And what tried to break you tried to convince you that you were unworthy, uncalled, unimportant. That very thing is now going to announce your identity, not because of revenge, but because of revelation. You are not going back. You are not regressing. You are not invisible. You are not in limbo. You are walking into purpose, anchored, whole, free. You finally believe what I've known all along. You were always enough. Now that your identity is no longer wrapped in confusion, now that you've allowed me to call you into alignment with how I see you, it's time to walk forward in a rhythm that will protect, nurture, and sustain what I've placed inside you. You cannot carry the weight of your calling without structure. You cannot maintain the strength of your voice without stillness. You cannot live in revelation without regular return to me. If the enemy couldn't destroy you in chaos, he will now try to distract you in momentum. That's why I'm teaching you to build from presence, not pressure. Let's begin with prayer. Not just the kind that visits me in crisis, but the kind that creates a home in my presence daily. Prayer, honest prayer. Not long monologues trying to impress me, just real moments where your soul meets my spirit. Begin your mornings with me, not as a box to check, but as a space to recalibrate your heart before the demands of the day begin to shape your focus. Let my voice shape your peace. It might be 5 minutes, it might be 50. I'm not measuring your time, I'm measuring your surrender. I don't want polished language, I want your heart. Bring me your gratitude. Bring me your tension. Bring me your thoughts before they take over. I will meet you there. Throughout your day, keep the conversation going. Prayer doesn't end when you leave the quiet place. It follows you into your decisions, your conversations, your emotions. Ask me questions. Pause and listen. When something feels off, stop and ask me what I'm saying. This is what it means to walk by the Spirit, not just asking for help when you're overwhelmed, but learning to live in continual awareness that I am always near. Let me speak to your attitude, because in this season, how you carry yourself matters as much as what you carry. You are no longer living from survival. You are living from security. Let your posture reflect it. Let your words be calm, even when the atmosphere is tense. Let your presence speak peace before your mouth opens. You've learned how to respond in storms. Now I'm teaching you how to walk in stillness with the same faith. The miracle is not always in parting seas. Sometimes it's in walking on water without fear. And I want your internal world to be quiet enough that you can hear when I whisper, "Come." Begin your days in gratitude. That's how you train your heart to see me in everything. Thank me for what's still forming. Thank me for what's already left. Thank me for what you don't understand yet. Gratitude is not weakness, it's warfare. It confronts anxiety. It silences entitlement. It opens your eyes to grace in places you'd otherwise miss. Make Thanksgiving a lifestyle. Let it become your reflex. Return to my word daily, not just for instruction, but for alignment. My word is your anchor. It will remind you of what's true when your emotions try to pull you into old patterns. You don't need 100 verses a day. You need one that's alive in your spirit. One that reminds you who you are. One that steadies your emotions. One that confronts fear. My word is not a checklist. It's a weapon. It's a lamp. It's your anchor when winds rise again. Start reading with expectation. Ask me to highlight what you need. I will. Guard your heart and your atmosphere. What you consume matters. What you listen to, scroll past, engage with, it all forms your spiritual environment. I'm not calling you to be legalistic. I'm calling you to be discerning. If it steals your peace, it's not harmless. If it reopens old fear, it's not neutral. Filter everything through this. Is this strengthening my spirit or starving it? Simplify your inputs so my voice grows louder. Manage your relationships with wisdom. Some people will draw from you in this season, not because they're toxic, but because they're hungry. Be generous, but don't burn out. Make room for mutuality. Lean into the connections I've been forming behind the scenes. People who carry what you need and honor what you carry. Community is not optional in this next chapter. You'll build faster, stand stronger, and recover quicker when you're surrounded by the right voices. I've already started bringing them. Look around. Lastly, rest deeply, weekly, intentionally. Rest is not weakness, it is trust. It is how you declare that the world keeps turning even when you step back, that your worth is not tied to constant output, that you trust me to work even while you lie still. Rest is holy. Guard it. Protect it. It will renew your clarity and recharge your joy. You don't need to prove anything in this season. You don't need to hustle for what I've already ordained. Just stay in rhythm. Just keep walking. Just keep showing up with me. Faith is not a sprint. It's not a performance. It's not a wave of inspiration. It's a life of agreement, built moment by moment, decision by decision, prayer by prayer. You've already passed the test of pain. Now live in the strength of purpose. You're not waiting for something to happen anymore. You're learning how to carry what's already been released. Now that your faith has begun to move into action and your steps are aligning with my rhythm, it's time to deal with something deeper. Not just how you walk, but how you see yourself as you walk. Because if you try to carry a divine assignment while still wearing an identity shaped by pain, fear, or rejection, you will always hesitate. You'll hold back. You'll second-guess your voice. You'll downplay your worth. And I didn't bring you through everything I brought you through so you could live like you're still trying to earn your place. I've already chosen you. That's settled. But now I want you to choose the version of yourself that I created, not the one you had to become to survive. There's a real version of you that existed before the betrayal, before the silence, before you were told to be smaller, quieter, easier to manage. You learned how to fit in rooms that couldn't hold your truth. You learned how to adjust your tone so people wouldn't misunderstand your fire. You carried vision and compassion and wisdom in a world that often didn't know what to do with it. And in the process, you started questioning if the way I made you was somehow a mistake. Let me tell you clearly, nothing about you was accidental. Nothing about your wiring, your insight, your instincts, your sensitivity was a flaw. You were designed that way on purpose, for a purpose. The world may have mishandled it, but I never misnamed it. The pressure you felt to conform, to blend in, to be more like others, none of that came from me. I've always been trying to call out the real you, the one who was formed in intimacy with me long before this world tried to label you. You've been functioning for years, doing the work, showing up, enduring. But beneath the strength, there's still a voice that whispers, "Am I really enough?" That's what I want to silence now, because I don't want you to walk into this next season wearing borrowed armor. I don't want you speaking my words while still unsure if you deserve to carry them. I don't want you building what I've placed in your hands while still wondering if you're just one mistake away from losing it. That's not your story anymore. Let me tell you who you are. You are not the abandoned one. You are not the almost. You are not the overlooked. You are not the version of you that stayed quiet to stay safe. You are my image bearer. You are a vessel of glory. You are a mouthpiece of healing. You are a carrier of presence. You are bold. You are kind. You are sharp in spirit and full of grace. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not unqualified. You are called. And what you've been through isn't disqualifying you. It's distinguishing you. There are lies that have lived in your mind for too long. Lies that snuck in during moments of deep pain. Moments when people left without explanation. Moments when your name was left out of conversations you helped shape. Moments when you were told to calm down when you were simply carrying clarity. Those experiences created internal agreements that said things like, don't be too loud, don't ask for more, don't expect too much, stay small, be safe. But I'm breaking those lies now, because safety in those terms is slavery. And I didn't rescue you just to contain you. I freed you so you could live. You don't need to apologize anymore for your presence, for your process, for your strength, for your tears. You're not too much. You're enough in every way that matters. And in the areas where you still feel weak, still feel raw, still feel unfinished, I will fill in the gaps. My grace is not just for your sin. It's for your becoming. Let me meet you in the places where you're still unsure. Let me rewrite the internal narrative that shaped your behavior. You don't need to beg for affirmation. You've already been affirmed by the one whose word settles everything. This is the season where you stop shrinking, not because of pride, but because of truth. You've outgrown old labels. You've outgrown the need for constant validation. You've outgrown pretending not to carry what you do. You don't need to wait until you feel fully ready. You just need to agree with who I say you are. And from that place of agreement, you will find peace. You'll stop over-explaining. You'll stop reacting. You'll stop managing everyone's perception. You'll just walk in love, in power, in wholeness. Let your steps reflect your healing. Let your decisions reflect your worth. Let your relationships reflect your discernment. Let your presence reflect that you've been with me. You don't have to prove anything, you just have to be who I already said you are. They tried to define you by your lowest moment. I define you by my highest call. And what tried to break you tried to convince you that you were unworthy, uncalled, unimportant. That very thing is now going to announce your identity, not because of revenge, but because of revelation. You are not going back. You are not regressing. You are not invisible. You are not in limbo. You are stronger, softer, clearer, quieter in spirit, but louder in impact. My beloved child, this message was not a coincidence. It was a divine appointment. What stirred your spirit today is only the beginning. Every day I have more to reveal, more healing, more clarity, more strength. So return here daily where I speak to your soul through each word. Let this channel be your sanctuary, your meeting place with me. Subscribe now, not for content, but for communion. Click the bell so my voice finds you the moment I whisper. Type Amen in the comments if you received this word. Share it with someone who needs to hear me today. And tomorrow, come back. Let me speak again. I am always here. I am not finished with your story. I am just beginning. Stay close. Stay expectant. Stay in my presence. You are deeply loved, and I'll be waiting here to remind you. Amen.